start off with Airbus.
That's right, with the A350 to be exact. Now, after 14 months of flights, the much anticipated plane from Airbus has ended its testing phase and is likely to be in service by the end of the year. So far, over 700 planes have been ordered, and Airbus is hoping the A350 will rival Boeing's Dreamliner. Nicholas Rushworth has more.
The route-proving test phase is over for the A350. The pressure to deliver on schedule and compete with Boeing is intense. The US rival has so far been dominant in long-haul aircraft, but the A350 is seen as Airbus's best bet to compete with the Boeing Dreamliner. Airbus pilots and engineers are working hard to ensure the plane rolls out on time.
Here's the electrical system. That's the hydraulic system. And this is the general system where we have all the information of the flight. We have around 200,000 parameters which can be recorded.
More than 50% of the plane is built using carbon fiber. This lessens the weight load and makes it around 20% more fuel efficient. Airbus has a lot riding on the aircraft. One setback so far has been cancellation of an order by Emirates Airline after a review of its fleet requirements. Regulatory approval is likely next month. The company's first delivery will be to Qatar Airways in November.
40, 30, 20, retard.
The food import ban imposed last week from Russia is hurting European farmers. Last year, the EU exported over 11 billion euros worth of agricultural products to the country. Now, at a meeting in Brussels on Thursday, an EU spokesperson said emergency measures would be announced next week, but food that's set to expire soon remains the biggest worry.
The key messages coming today has been that perishable vegetables are the sectors where the impact is the most urgent. We are in season for these products and suddenly a market has been lost and there's no obvious alternative outlet.
Tell us how trading ended in the United States yesterday.
Well, some easing of geopolitical tension sent stocks in the U.S. higher on Thursday's session. Now, the S&P and Nasdaq ended trading up close to 0.5%. Meanwhile, the Dow ended the day up 61 points. There you can see up 0.4%. Let's switch over to Asia now, and stocks there are following on from the U.S. gains, with the exception of Japan's. The Nikkei, as you can see, they're totally flat at this point, whereas the Hang Seng and Shanghai Composite up over 0.5%.
Take us through some of the other business stories today.
Well, Coca-Cola has announced it will pay $2.15 billion to pick up a 16% stake in Monster Beverage. The deal will further strengthen Coke's presence in the energy drinks market, where it's lagged behind brands like Monster and rival Red Bull. The company says it will expand the distribution of Monster drinks and place 2 of its members on the company's board. Banana distributor Chiquita Brand says it won't accept a $611 million buyout offer. The offer was made on Monday by the investment firm Safra and the Brazilian agribusiness and juice company Cutrate. The company says the offer is not in the best interest of its shareholders. Chiquita will now instead focus its efforts on a merger planned with Irish-based Fifes, which it agreed to in March. One of Russia's state-controlled oil giants seems to be cracking under Western sanctions. Russian papers report that Rosneft has asked the government for some 34 billion euros to help repay its debts and weather the sanctions. Rosneft is run by a close friend of Vladimir Putin's and pumps about 40% of Russia's oil. And bad news for Uber. The company has been banned in the city of Berlin amid safety concerns. The ban also comes with the threat of a 25,000 euro fine for non-compliance. German authorities say they couldn't allow passengers to risk riding in cars that hadn't properly been checked. Now, the San Francisco-based company has faced growing opposition, particularly in Europe, mostly from taxi drivers who say the mobile app threatens their livelihoods.
And finally, he's already one of the richest men in the entire world, and he is set to get even richer.
That's right, the world's third richest man. Now, shares in billionaire investor Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway broke a record high on Thursday to $200,000 apiece. Now, the stock price has doubled in just 8 years, and Berkshire has investments in companies like IBM, American Express, and Wells Fargo. The rising stock is likely to have a direct impact on Warren Buffett's personal wealth, now estimated at $65 billion. So
it's quite a lump sum there.
I know.
All right, Delano, thank you so much for joining us with the business news. You'll be back in just a few minutes. Now it's time for the web news. Let's take a look at what's hot on the web right now.